Welcome to 52 Questions. I'm Shannon Weber, Director of Hive. Every year, Hive answers hundreds of questions from patients, their partners, and providers, and each week in 2018, we're bringing you one of those frequently asked questions in video format. Have a question? Let us know. We'd love to answer it. For this week's question, I'm at the Positive Women's Network with Naina. And Naina, if you would introduce yourself very briefly. And the question for you this week is, what is reproductive justice?
Great. Hi, I'm Naina. I'm the Executive Director of Positive Women's Network USA. We are a national membership body of cis and trans women living with HIV here in the US. And I come to this work as a woman living with HIV myself. I was diagnosed in 2002. So reproductive justice is a framework that was coined by Black women in the mid-90s at a conference actually in 1994, where women of African descent basically said, we need to talk about what it really means for women to be able to control our own reproductive futures, women and people of all genders, right? And so reproductive justice goes way beyond the traditional ways that we think about reproductive health. Reproductive justice is about us having the ability to control what does and does not happen to our bodies, how we choose to create or not create families, and all the conditions that it takes to do that in ways that are healthy, with dignity, and sustainable, right? So that means that any decision that we make, any decision that we make about our reproductive futures from a reproductive justice perspective, it's not just about like, did you have an abortion? Did you use contraception? Did you choose to space your children in such and such way? Did you choose not to have kids at all? No, it's about, do you also have the mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, legal environment that you need to make the kinds of decisions you want to make? So I think, what's really exciting about reproductive justice is that it's not about choice. It's about access. It's so much more than individual choices. It's about understanding that there are systems that we operate in. So if a woman is not safely housed, can she really make her the same kinds of decisions about her reproductive future? If she doesn't have food to eat, if she doesn't have healthy food, if she doesn't have a job environment that allows her to take time off to be with her family, can she make the same kinds of decisions about her reproductive future? No. So reproductive justice looks at all of that. It requires that we analyze power. It requires that we analyze intersecting systems of oppression. And it requires that we center those who are most marginalized by these systems in making recommendations about what solutions should look like. So, of course, it was women of African descent who brought this to us. The folks who were building on lots of a tradition of liberation thinking about intersectionality and about different kinds of feminisms, and about what it really means to cultivate communities where we are all supported, regardless of how much money we have, what kind of space we have, where we are all supported to create or not create the kinds of families we want.
Awesome. Sorry for my sneeze there. It's because I have an idea thing that I didn't clear with you in advance. But then I want to ask you, how did this inform or impact the bodily autonomy manifesto, which we'll definitely link to in this video and share with folks, which I just find so powerful?
Yeah, great. So in March of 2017, Positive Women's Network released a framework for bodily autonomy, which includes reproductive justice as one component. But it also looks at, when we say bodily autonomy, we basically mean the right to control what we do and don't do with our bodies. And so for us, part of that is around reproductive decision-making. But also, there's more. There's the right to work and to be free to work in ways that we want to. So it also calls for decriminalizing sex work and having access to equitable labor and being paid for our labor. It also talks about the freedom to move and to migrate, which is part of bodily autonomy too, because you can't have bodily autonomy if you're not free to move. And we know that immigration is a very big topic here in the U.S. today. You know, this like artificial construct that borders are real things, and that we should somehow be policing who can cross them, and that people should have access to certain kinds of benefits only if they have certain kinds of immigration status. These are all, you know, part of the false constructs that we're sort of trying to address through the bodily autonomy framework.
Awesome. I'm glad we got to talk about that too.
Great.
Thanks for joining us for 52 Questions. Have a great week.
Thanks so much for having me.